Hey, what's poppin', everybody? Let's go ahead and recap the entire month of November. Not every single pick, but just to go over how we felt about last month in November. We had a 41-35 overall record in the month of November, having a slightly over 50% overall record, which obviously we'd like that to be just a little bit higher, up around 60%. But started out the month red hot and kind of cooled down towards the end of the month there. Our overall record for locks of the day in the month was 12-16. Obviously would like that to be way better than that. Really towards the end of the month was relying on bigs a lot, and they were putting up great first half performances, and then we're really just not doing anything in the second half, and it killed our locks of the day slip because I did end up doing a lot of bigs towards the end of the month overall on the record and with locks of the day. We did end up finishing the month though with 15.5 units, up 15.5 units, because we did have 5 sweeps in the month of November, because we started off the month very good. Also connected on a 5 slip earlier in the month, so that'll also help a lot. So fell one short again, of course, of breaking the sweep record. I think we've had 3 months in their channel where we've had 5 sweeps in the month, so we're still up pretty big on as far as the season goes as a whole. But as the month of November, it was a decent month. If we could have stayed as hot as we were at the beginning of the month, obviously it would have been really good. But I think, like I said on Instagram the other day, I think bigs are going to be banned for a couple of days. I've been playing bigs against really good matchups, and they've been having great first halves, and they just haven't been backing it up in the second half. And that's kind of exactly what happened here with our last month, or our last slip that we did in the month of November with the Vika Zubac here. Over 25.5, what ended up being his line. Had 14 or something like that in the first half. He was well over halfway in the first half, and ended up not getting anywhere close. So I think he only required like 6 more points and rebounds for the rest of the game after having a really good first half. It's really frustrating. I think he only ended up taking like 7 shots the entire game. Played the majority of the minutes, and you could see even him on the court was getting frustrated. They weren't giving him the ball on offense like at all. And the times that they were, he was dominating. He was dominating Walker Kessler and Lauri Markkanen on just pure back downs. He was dominating them, but just didn't get the points honestly when it really came down to it. Didn't end up doing a Grayson Allen line. I asked Underdog. They said they weren't going to give us one, so I ended up doing Anthony Davis over in his rebounds. He had 8 rebounds at the half and finishes with 12, meaning he only grabbed 4 rebounds in the entire second half. Again, another performance by a big man just lacking in the entire second half. They just didn't do anything in the second half. And then Julius Randle, under his 18.5 points, ends up going under 4, so he finished with 18 right there on the hook. Took the last 2 shots of the game, the 2 meaningless shots to try to put the Knicks back into it. Took a 3 and then tried to get some contact on a layup there at the end of the game. So normally Jalen Brunson takes those last minute clutch shots, and Julius Randle did, so that had me a little bit nervous, but he did end up going under for us. So we got 3 more plays today. We're staying away from the big men today, so let's go ahead and get into it for today's our first slip in the NBA for December, because there was only 1 game yesterday. Is the reason why I didn't make a video. It's hard to find 3 picks in an NBA game that we can all kind of hit on, so I ended up doing a NFL slip. Did post it on Instagram yesterday, so let's get into our first NBA slip of December. Let's get it. Real quick, if you guys are new to Underdog Fantasy, in the link down in the description below, I have a link that takes you straight to the App Store where you can download Underdog Fantasy, because you're going to want to hop in on the action this year. They have added a whole bunch of new features to Underdog Fantasy this year, starting with the brand new insurance feature, okay? This insurance feature is a new thing that has been super requested for the fans and the customers of Underdog Fantasy. Essentially, all you do is you click insurance right here, and if you can see right there, all you have to do is hit 4 of these picks to win, but the value does drop down. So if you turn off the insurance, you do a $10 bet, you obviously get $200. And if you turn on the insurance feature, it drops down a multiplier down to 10. But if you miss one of these picks, say Jameis Winston gets hurt or something, he doesn't end up throwing 2 touchdown passes, but everybody else hits, like Lamar, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, and Justin Jefferson. All these guys hit. You still hit the slip. You just get it for $100. It just goes down a multiplier, which is a huge feature a lot of people have been asking for, so they received it. Also, they have added second half lines now to games. Obviously, it is on. There is nothing up because there's no NFL second half games, but they have added NFL second half. So just like for the Thursday night game, I'll throw up that clip right here. Thursday night, they dropped all the second half lines for that Thursday night game between the Bills and the Rams. They've added a bunch of new features this year. They're trying to improve to get the app better for you guys. Also, when you sign up, if you use code TAKEMYSHOT, you'll get $100 match, up to $100 match and 100% deposit match on your first time deposit. So if you do that, you can deposit $50 to get an extra $50, $20 to get an extra $20. Whole lot of stuff coming with Underdog Fantasy this year. Make sure you sign up with code TAKEMYSHOT. Now let's get to today's picks. All right, coming in hot with today's lock of the day. We're going to head over to Atlanta versus Denver here tonight. We're going to take on Trey Young. Over 28.5 points tonight is our lock of the day today. In 2022, without John Collins or DeAndre Hunter in the lineup, Trey Young did average 31 points per game. Obviously, Trey Young, the primary scorer for the Atlanta Hawks offense. John Collins and DeAndre Hunter, both guys that average, around 12 to 15 points per game. That's about an extra 4 or 5 shots. Somebody's got to take those shots. Look for it to probably be Trey Young. His line's set to 28.5. I think it should be a lot higher than this. Recently, he's kind of had some rough scoring games. He had a big explosion game against the Rockets where he had like 40. But expect Trey Young to have a big game tonight with a lot of injuries to offensive players for the Atlanta Hawks. Obviously, some guys like AJ Griffin will come in. He's a pretty good scorer, little bucket getter when he comes into the lineup. But give me Trey Young to have a big night tonight against this Denver Nuggets team. They really lack perimeter defense. Does this Nuggets team? They don't have a really elite perimeter defender. Inside, they're pretty good on defense, but outside, they don't really have guys to stop people like Trey Young. So I'm liking Trey Young to have a big night. This game does sit at a 3.5 point spread and a 230 total, so a pretty solid total as well as a good spread. So give me Trey Young today over 28.5 points. All right, our next play, we're going to head over to the Toronto-Brooklyn game. We're going to take Kyrie Irving under his 4.0 rebounds. Now, I thought about doing the whole shebang. I thought about doing points, rebounds, and assists, but I'm just going to go with just the rebounds here tonight. It was the most reliable line that I could find. He had some success versus him scoring the basketball this season, a lot more than I thought he would, but he has had success, so we're going to go with the rebounds. Now, think about the guys that are going to be on the floor for these two teams. Nicholas Claxton, aggressive rebounder. Kevin Durant, long, lanky rebounder. Siakam, a guy who's very aggressive on the glass. OG Anunoby, obviously the Raptors like to put a lot of length on the floor, and they rebound the ball like crazy. Also, great interior defense. So a lot of length is going to be on the floor. It's not very many opportunities for Kyrie Irving to go down there amongst the trees and try to get rebounds. The only way it's going to get him is if he gets a long one that rolls out to him or something like that. Now, he has taken on the Raptors twice this season, and in those 2 games, he's grabbed a total of 2 rebounds. He's grabbed 1 rebound apiece in both of those games, which makes a lot of sense, right? The last 10 point guards, including Kyrie Irving, that have faced this Toronto Raptors team, 8 of them have gone under, only 2 have gone over. The only 2 that went over was Luka Doncic and Tyrese Halliburton. He had 6, and Luka Doncic had 7. It makes a lot of sense that Luka had a lot. Obviously, Luka is listed as a point guard, but he is a lot more aggressive on the glass. He's a guy who's looking to get rebounds, right? Not what Kyrie Irving's game is. And then Halliburton is an all-around menace for that team, for the Pacers. So only 2 guys that went over were those 2, and the other 8 guys that they played, they've been able to keep under. One of those guys was included in Kyrie Irving in their last 10 games. So they're averaging only 3.1 rebounds versus Toronto Raptors team for starting point guards. Kyrie's line, I don't think he can get to 5. If he gets to 4, well, we push, but I don't think he can get all the way up to 5. So give me Kyrie Irving under 4.0 rebounds today as he takes on the Toronto Raptors. All right, and our last play of the day, we're going to head over to the late game. We're going to go with the Phoenix-Houston game. We're going to take Cameron Payne under 18.5 points and rebounds. Not a guy that rebounds the ball a lot. Also a guy who has been really struggling to score the basketball. Now, the reason I'm taking this play is not because I think that the Rockets can stop point guards, because they haven't. Obviously, they're one of the worst point guard defenses in the NBA. The last 8 matchups that the Suns have taken on the Houston Rockets, they've won the last 8 games, have the Suns by an average win margin victory of 11. I think the last I checked, let me double check to make sure I'm giving you guys an accurate line. Last I checked, this game sits at an 11.5 point spread and only a 229 total, which means they don't expect a lot of points to be scored, as well as this game to probably be a blowout. Now, Cameron Payne has been struggling to score the ball a lot like crazy lately. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton have been doing their thing as far as the offensive production goes for the Suns offense. Look for Booker to pour it on early, then they pull out the starters. Cameron Payne is a guy who kind of already, a little bit at times, kind of splits his minutes with his backup. I forget his name. I can't remember his name, but the backup for the Suns, for his backup at the point guard position, they kind of split minutes sometimes. He does kind of sit sometimes a little bit longer than he should. Sometimes he doesn't even get to that 30-minute per game range, but he has been struggling to score the ball lately. He doesn't really get a lot of rebounds. DeAndre Ayton has been gobbling up all the rebounds, as well as Alperen Sengun is a pretty good rebounder in his own self, so I'm liking the chances for him to not really get that many rebounds. Has not been able to really get going offensively. I don't even think he's hit his 14.5 point line. He's gone under 4 of the last 5 games or something like that, so look for Cameron Payne to not necessarily not put up a big numbers here, but just to not have enough time to get the numbers that he needs. I don't think he'll get the rebounds, and he's been really struggling offensively. So give me Cameron Payne under 18.5 points is our last play. 18.5 points and rebounds is our last play of the day today. All right, guys, so with that being said, today's perfect 3 slip is going to be the lock of the day. Get Trey Young over 28.5 points. Give me Kyrie Irving under 4.0 rebounds, and then give me Cameron Payne under 18.5 points and rebounds. He's only averaging, in the couple of games he's played without Chris Paul this year as Cameron Payne, he's only averaging 18 points and rebounds. He's averaging 15.6 points, so we'll bump it up. And he's actually only averaging 3 rebounds on the season. So he's sitting right there at that average of where his line is. I just don't think he'll have the time. This game's going to be a blowout. So give me Cameron Payne under 18.5 points and rebounds as today's perfect 3 slip. All right, that's going to wrap up today's video, guys. Real quick, also just wanted to mention, for some reason, I missed this in my notes. Trey Young in his 2 matchups versus the Nuggets last year had 30 points and 34 points. One of those games was without DeAndre Hunter, the game where he had 34 points. So even in history, Trey Young has had really good success versus the Nuggets. Just wanted to throw that one out there as well. It's a little bit extra. I missed it in my notes somehow. But that being said, guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. Hopefully, let's go get this record again. We're on a little bit of a cold stretch as far as connecting on a slip. We've been on a good run of making correct selections, but we haven't put 3 together to hit on a slip. I think it's been just a little bit over a week since we've hit a slip, so it's time for us to connect to hit on a slip now. So with that being said, guys, I will catch you tomorrow. Peace.